Hey everyone, welcome back to our coverage of House of Villains Season 2 over here on RHAP, where, this podcast, we don't care about the size of your tongue as long as you're serving us, okay? Any type of utensil, it's working as long as you're serving. I am, of course, Jenny, joined by my incredible co-host, the wonderful Chappell. How's it going?
I'm good. I'm a little confused though, because I really thought that she was saying tongue for the
Okay,
longest, and I
I
was like, it doesn't make sense because she's not saying what I think she's saying, but also she's not saying tongue. What is this? Is that a new thing? Is that what the kids are calling it these days? Tongues?
Chappelle, I am just as confused as you, but I think
Mhm.
that if there's one thing about Miss New York, our beloved, uh, she's just saying shit sometimes. She has a way with words, and the way is not necessarily the way that anyone else goes. And, she's an individual. And she finds her own unique ways of describing things. I too thought at one point that maybe she was saying tongue because she also called Jesse like a thin-lipped motherfucker at one point, I believe.
Mhm.
So I'm like, she's really focused on his mouth. So is it something about his does he have a small tongue?
Yeah.
Um, but I think she's saying tong,
Tongue.
like the kitchen utensil that you use to
Yeah.
pick up I don't food,
I,
hot
I just
food.
didn't know. I didn't know that was a thing that we're doing, and she really leaned to it. We got some classic New York. We got the New York that we
Yes,
have talked about
she's
hiding.
here.
She's been on the Charger. She's been on the docking station for several
Yep.
episodes. Last week we saw it starting to warm up.
Mhm.
Who would have known that New York has gotten such a hate into Jesse this season? Because prior to this, we were like, oh my God, the Jesse New York West relationship was so iconic. They sat down, they had a meeting of the minds, and now here we
Mhm.
are, like, oh, never mind. I don't think she likes him at all. And matter of fact, I'm not even quite sure Jesse likes Wes. Um, is there something about Teresa, and we'll talk about it, I'm sure, going out the
Why
way
they
that she went
barely
out?
did.
Yeah, but like, if there's something about Teresa going out the way she got out that's now empowered these people to be a little bit more aggressive in their villainy, because I
Yeah.
just didn't expect a lot of these blowups that we got in this episode. It felt a little like, huh, where's that coming from?
I agree, and that's one of the main things that I really wanna talk about tonight because, it's something that we've discussed when we went through last season even where it's like, okay, like, what if we're rewarding a winner at the end of this show, if there's a vote, what is it based on? Is it like, were you the most villainous, or
Mhm.
were you, you know, playing a villain but in a way that made all of the other villains like you? Is it still just a your classic social game wins? And I think it's like a really interesting conversation when it comes to this season, because you've got people that are really focused on the game aspect of it, making moves, like,
Mhm.
positioning yourself. You've got like your mastermind type people like your Wes. Um and then you've got your I would say that maybe Candy has been a little bit more in the Tanisha spot where
Mhm.
it was like, still being true to herself, being a villain, showing people why she's a villain and she's on this cast, but also endearing
Mhm.
herself to the rest of the cast to the point where, like, gotta hand it to you, like, so and then you've got like these other people where it's like they think that maybe the way to win is like some sort of combination of making moves but also just like you have to embody being a villain. And I just think it's still like a very, very interesting conversation because it leads me to ask the bigger question, I guess, of the episode here, whereas like, did Jesse take the right strike here? Like, did he go at the right person here? Because there's truly arguments for, if you're gonna go at one big dog here, whether it's Candy or it's Wes, like, did he do the right thing? And I just feel like we're only in the second season of this show, and it's still really interesting to figure out like what the criteria is to try and win this.
And especially because we find out that, and I think we hadn't really been known this for a while, that Candy and Jesse are so aligned.
Mhm.
Like we knew that Candy and Wes kind of weren't taking a lot of shots at each other. We knew that there was maybe some love there between Candy and Jesse. We haven't really seen them clash at all. But
Yeah.
Candy doesn't like that Jesse could, is betraying her in this episode. And it started to question, like, yeah, do you betray your ally like this, right? But on the other side, you have Wes, who Jesse has to be able to beat at the end. And Wes is lying to him constantly. He's constantly maneuvering, constantly scheming. So he's looking at these two options. You have Candy on the one hand, who socially will beat everybody, like you said, kind of in the same Tanisha spot, where if Tanisha gets to
Mhm.
the end, what are we doing? Just give her the money. But on the other end, you have Wes, who maybe you can beat him in the final two, but is there any world where you think Wes lets you get to the final two? Like Wes could be trying to monopolize his position as like the person at the top alone, and he doesn't need necessarily a Jesse in the passenger seat, right? When he has so many other people that
Yeah.
are options, Larsa,
Mhm.
Safari potentially, New York. We know that Wes has a day one alliance with, apparently, because they knew each other from another show. So
I want
there
to
are
talk about
other
that.
right, but there are other like criteria that go into, like, okay, is this person somebody that I want to take further? And so seeing in this episode that Jesse is going to make a big decision here and maybe follow a safer route in targeting Candy, it's very interesting to me because yeah, I really want to know kind of like Jesse's thought process throughout this episode. Even his original idea of put me next to Wes.
Mm.
I'm not quite sure what Jesse's doing.
It's so funny because, I know that we kind of we cocky teased in our
We did.
last podcast 2 weeks ago, because we just felt like we needed to see how things played out, given the way the last episode ended before we gave out the next cocky. And I found myself through the first bit of this episode being like, wow, okay, like I think we're giving Jesse the cocky here because not only did he recognize that he was potentially almost got himself like immediately banished and
Mhm.
address that in that activity at the end of the last episode, but he also like started off very strong in this episode. He's clearly aware of what Wes is doing. Like, he wins super villain of the week. He's planning to make a big move here, and then it all kind of I started to be like, what? Well, okay, I'll let him cook. Let me hear more. Let me see what we're gonna do with this. And throughout the episode, I found myself being like, I don't know. And listen, everyone, we're big Mr. Spectacular fans on this podcast. We've
Yeah.
been giving Jesse his flowers all season because he has been playing a really, really good game. But that's the problem, is that like you reach this point in the show where you're like, okay, now I gotta like turn the heat on. And you know um I I think the idea that he had
Mhm.
of, I'm not gonna piss off two people when one of them is 100% staying, and he rightfully recognizes that he has been in a good social position in the game so far, where he's not really been like an enemy of anyone.
Mhm.
So if he's so confident that when there's no redemption challenge and it's just two people up on the hit list and a vote, that if people know they can just for sure go and get out Wes, that just put him next to him. And that's a move that he can point to if he gets to the end of the game. And no one in their right mind is going to get rid of Jesse over Wes, given the situation. I think that that's what he's thinking here. And I don't think it's crazy, because I don't think you should ever put yourself at risk when you
No.
are in the one position of the game where you're actually safe. But it's interesting. It's wild. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, what what I thought was the real problem here, and it clearly ended up being a real problem, is choosing to share this idea very early, it seems, with New York of all people, who Jesse already knew that this was someone like that was starting to turn on him based on how things went when they were lining themselves up from most to least villainous. Like that is where I was like, okay, Jesse. Like even if this move idea is a little out there, sharing it with New York is where I'm starting to lose you.
Yeah, I mean, he loses to me multiple times over because it's like
For sure.
on the one hand, you put yourself on the block, risk going up against West and going home. Fine. If you think you have the social capital to win that vote, that's cool. But the fact that you would risk that is kind of like, what are you doing?
Mhm.
Even let's just play with the numbers right now, right? You got Wes and Jesse. Safari might vote for Wes or Jesse. I don't think there's a definite um I don't think you can count on Safari's vote. Same thing with, I mean, by the end of the episode, maybe you can, but in the beginning when he's pitching
Yeah.
it, I don't think so. So you can't really count on Safari's vote. Who does Larsa vote for?
Yeah.
She talks about Wes being an honorary housewife. She's honorary bro now, but that's not an anti-West sentiment. So I don't even know if you can count on West,
Yeah.
there. I mean, on Larson's vote for West there. Then you got New York, who has been in the secret alliance with West, who Jesse will
And
now
Jesse
find out
knows
about.
that New York is working with
Right.
West
We saw the
because
brain trust
they
meet up.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you got New York as well, who might vote for West. I just think, like, to me, it's too
Yeah.
cute,
Yeah.
And so to take that and then also be like, I'm gonna tell New York, I was like, I don't know what you're doing, because one, New York goes back and tells West, and this kind of all gets blown up. But two, is New York really that much of an ally to you that where she needs to know the plan? I don't really think that's the case. So, Jesse, I've been rooting for you. We were trying to
Yeah.
see if you were gonna get the cocky last week, and I can't see it for my guy right now. I mean, if it works out, fine, but I don't see it. No.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, the way things shake out, there is still a world where Jesse wins this.
Hmm.
Like I don't think that this was a game ending move for him, but the path that we took to get there, certainly very messy, and I don't know if I can co-sign it. I think the problem though is like Jesse has like the right view on Wes and the game that Wes plays, and like
Hmm.
he is very much like, I'm on to you. And but what he doesn't realize is like he's expecting everyone else to act and move according to the way that he sees it and the way that he sees Wes. And I think that one of his weaknesses is that he underestimates the power and the relationships that Wes has with other people. Um, and part of me can't fully fault him for that,
Hmm.
but I do think that is part of the problem here. Is it's just like it, we might be too far down the tracks here. Like
Hmm.
Larsa seems like she's gonna just die for Wes. Like, um, New York, despite the fact that she seems to call him West, which was delightful to me. They're very great friends, but we're not quite sure on the name yet.
Hmm.
Love her. Like she does this incredible acting job at first with Jesse, where she's like, "Oh, like first of all." Jesse is like, who do you think I'm going to put myself up next to if I'm going to make this kind of move? And she goes through every fucking person in the game.
Including
She's
herself.
she cycles back to herself.
Like, and you're not putting me up. 'Cause I was with her. I was like, surely you're not thinking of putting yourself on the block against West. So what could you possibly
Sir.
be thinking? Are you
Yeah.
trying to put yourself up against New York? Because that would be weird to be telling her that. I 100% agree with New York in that moment. What
it
What
was
do you
it was
mean?
wild.
Yeah. Why do you want to sit next to West, Jesse? I think that's a great question. Now,
Yeah.
maybe Jesse feels like if anybody else is on the block, you don't have the numbers to get West out.
Yeah.
Like by putting Candy on the block next to West, Candy probably goes. Like
Yeah.
You know, so like, do you really want to do that swing on Candy? And now you've put Wes on the block. You've shed the first blood. I think you kind of have to try to kick that can down the road. Putting yourself up is odd. It's unorthodox for sure, but I don't. It's not
Maybe just
disqualifying.
he just maybe just felt like he needed to make a big move. Clearly, he almost got put in the least villainous spot. He cheated death here. And so I don't know. It was just really funny that when he finally gets to the point and says Wes, that New York immediately is like, "Oh, I've been wanting that for a while." And for a second,
Mhm.
I almost believed her until we immediately went to her confessional and she's like, "Now wait a minute here.
Yeah.
This is my guy." Like, and I was like, "Oh, we are so cooked."
Oh, it's
Like,
done. Mhm.
I have so many questions about this upcoming season that has not aired of Worst Cooks in America Celebrity Edition. That is
Mhm.
the show in question that New York keeps referring to, that her and Wes were on, and they were apparently very tight allies. Since our last podcast, I believe the cast for and the theme for this show has been released, and there are some other big names on this cast. Some other Big Brother royalty, and also some House of Villains royalty on this cast. Have you seen this yet, Chappelle?
I've seen the cast, but I don't think I have the list in front of me.
Okay, I got it.
Um,
I got it.
so okay, yeah, okay, I got it too. So the one I saw was okay, yeah, I got it. Adam, right? The figure skater, Adam Rippon,
Adam Rippon, yeah, from Stars
Bart
on Mars as
from
well,
Stars
a
on
show I
Mars as well.
covered
Yes.
with Rob.
Bartice Bowden from Love is
Love
Blind,
is Blind, yeah.
a person that I saw a lot of talk about. Like he would very much
Yes.
be at home
I did
on
not
House of
watch that
Villains.
season, but
Yeah.
from what I know, it makes sense that he's in a villain. Because again, this show has a heroes versus villains theme to it. I know nothing about what this show is, so I'm truly confused.
Yeah, but it's crazy to me though, because for it to have a heroes versus villains theme in a cooking competition, essentially, it's odd. But also I don't think the heroes versus villains are well defined to me. Because
Right?
like some of the heroes, Cheryl Burke from Dancing with the Stars, it's like,
Okay.
okay, like she's like, listen, don't get me wrong, Cheryl Burke is an icon. I'm here to preach, okay?
Yeah.
But a hero, like because she dances, like I guess you could be a villainous dancer as well. I don't know. But like Frankie Grande is gonna be in that show. Rachel
As a
Riley,
hero.
right? Rachel
Rachel
Riley
as
as
a
a
villain
villain,
makes sense, I
but
think.
Frankie as a hero. What are we doing? And
Well, that's
so
the thing is, like, yeah, it's like it does feel a little shoehorned. I wouldn't say
yeah,
that like Frankie is the most villainous person, but I don't know that he necessarily screams hero.
right. But the key here though is that Wes and New York are probably on the same team. They're
They
coming
are
from House of
definitely
Villains.
they are
They're
villains.
both
They're
villains, and
yes.
so they might have had a close working relationship on the show. It's a cooking show, so I don't even know like
Mhm.
how cutthroat it's going
I
to get.
That's why I can't believe that like New York is like, that's my guy. Like, we did another show. We have a secret alliance. Like, I'm not turning on this guy. What the fuck happened on Worst Cooks in America Celebrity Edition that has caused this woman to like live and die for Wes Bergman? Which I get it.
He's
I'm a
amazing.
Wes stan.
The
Like
man is amazing.
I just love watching him do what he does and try like the things like he doesn't even end up on the hit list at the end of this episode. Like we have to give him some credit here. I just think,
Oh
what is this
yeah.
show?
Also, cocky to West for this episode. Like I
Are
mean,
we getting ahead of it? We're
but
giving the
I just
cocky
feel
to
like
West.
yeah. You what
We
you
got
say?
it.
I mean, this man should have been on the block. Wes's edit is so interesting because
Yes.
we talked about this. I was like, I think that we talked about like Jesse knows Wes's game. We know Jesse
Mhm.
knows that Wes is out here doing some nasty things.
Yeah.
We need Jesse to be able to do something about it if he's going to do something about it.
Yes.
We're watching Jesse move into doing something about it. We're watching him put the pieces together. They're talking about this imaginary immunity idol. They're talking about, Wes and these secrets. Jesse's talking about going on the block to sit next to Wes. The lies are spreading. It seems like the walls are caving in. And all of Wes's confessionals are just Wes being like, yeah, I'm hoping that it's Jesse because I can manipulate him the best. I'm like, you can manipulate Jesse the best? I was like, Jesse's the least manipulatable person in the house as far as Wes is concerned, from my point of view.
But that's what I said last episode.
Yeah.
I said that I was worried that Wes's downfall would be that Jesse is a bit of a blind spot for him, where he doesn't see, first of all, doesn't see that Jesse knows what he's doing.
Right.
And also that Jesse is on to him.
Right. But here's my question.
Like, it's imperfect.
Is he wrong? Is he wrong? Because Wes should have been on the is he actually manipulating Jesse?
Yeah.
Wes should have very much been on the block. Jesse was willing to sit next to Wes to get Wes out of the game.
Yeah.
Jesse, that's insane. I'm like, are we giving Jesse too much credit?
I don't know. It's so confusing, and I think that that's why, like, I'm really left with the question of, if you're Jesse, is it still, if you think that you have a chance to get there, is it still better for you to be there next to Wes than to be next to Candy? And is it not so much that you didn't take the shot at Wes, but that you realized your only win condition was to make sure you weren't there with Candy, and you had to take the shot at Candy? And that's the thing, is I just don't know how much of this was a non-shot at Wes than it was taking the opportunity to see Candy, to get Candy, because you see Jesse throughout the episode with the help of Safari. Safari was talking this episode, and I want to figure out what we think about his game plan is. I find him very interesting and confusing as an entity in this game, but like, Jesse knows that Wes is a bullshitter and is like, this man is lying constantly, but Candy is the biggest threat in the game. Candy will win. And so I wonder how much of this is Jesse really just banking on either other people aren't going to want to go with Wes as well. So we just hope that he is not in a position where he gets there automatically by winning something at 5 or whatever. And if he does end up there with Wes, people don't like him. People don't like or respect how Wes played. We say, oh, we love a villain. And then when it comes time to reward a villain, we don't want to reward a villain. Like, I don't know. It's not unheard of, because I think I think that there is a chance that Wes could get to the end and be in the banana spot. Not just because they're both from the challenge, but I just think that, like, a lot of people thought, like, oh, Bananas had his, like, it was insane that he got as far as he did. So I think that it could be the exact same thing. And then maybe you're just thinking it's not even a guarantee that Wes is going to win, but Candy would.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, you could definitely look at somebody like, okay, if Wes makes it to the end, there's a non-zero chance that he doesn't win the game. Like, whereas with Bananas was more kind of like, if he's sitting next to, like, Tanisha was clearly the front runner last season. Yeah. Like, we talked about it. Bananas was doing a lot of the work and was burning a lot of bridges. He was making a lot of enemies while doing the work. Safari literally said, Wes has done nothing in the game. Safari said that. And like Safari, who's done mostly nothing in the game, but at least he's been supervillain of the week. He's put people on the block. He's gotten blood on his hands. And so
it's wild that Wes is not the supervillain. I'm just realizing that.
Right. And so, like, so Safari even just pointed out that, like, Wes hasn't really done anything. Doesn't really bode well for Wes either, because if you get to the end and you're like, I didn't do anything, it's like, yeah, they might not vote for you for that. They want somebody who played the game, I'm assuming. But here's the thing. Who could have predicted the social implications of Jesse putting Candy in New York on the block? Because it seemed like Jesse just lost those 2 votes forever. Like, if Jesse I don't think, and Candy in New York were always probably going to be like hard votes to assure that you were going to get right. New York seems like she was always going to lean toward West based on works cooked in America, but Jesse just burnt the Candy vote.
Oh yeah.
I don't think you can get that vote back if it's
And I
Candy.
don't
If
think
it's
that he
West and
ever
Jesse,
had New
yeah,
York, but he
yeah,
definitely lost Candy. And Candy's influence with the other people. Like there's a reason why people thought Candy was going to win
right,
because all of her friends that have already been sent home.
right. Her votes are there, and so it's like
Yeah.
I think like if you take the shot at Candy, you have to hit it, but also is taking this shot at Candy worth it if you're now
Yeah.
taking your chances against somebody like Wes? You just gave him Candy's vote, and
Yeah.
that is incredible. Like, is there a way he could have done this that was less messy? Probably put himself up. And I think he saw that. I think he saw that, like, that was why he came up with that ridiculous scheme of like, I'll put myself up so I don't have to piss off a Candy. I don't have to piss off New York. I don't have to lose Larsa, who he's aligned with. I don't have to piss off Safari. There's not that many people in the game left. So you have to burn somebody. This was an incredible time to win Supervillain of the Week for Jesse. I don't know if it was optimal. I don't know if this was the moment that he needed to do it.
Would it was the move not New York and West? Because
The move was definitely New York.
New York went into this expecting to be put up because she was calling him like a pterodactyl ass bitch like during the like lineup thing. Like, she as soon as Teresa gets banished, she was like, that should have been you. He had an out to get rid of New York here. And yeah, it's scary because New York is New York, but he had reasons to put her up. And even he could have gone to her and been like, I'm only putting you up because I know that you will not go. And this is my, like, if I put Wes up next to Candy, if I put Wes up next to Safari, I worry that he's not actually going to go. And this isn't about trying to target you. This is about trying to target Wes. Like he had that explanation there. He didn't have to piss off both Candy and Wes. And even though he doesn't put Wes up here, like the damage is kind of done because
is it?
Well, with Wes, in terms of Wes knowing that he lost Jesse.
Does he know that?
Yes, he realizes that early in this episode, don't you think? First of all, the New York of it all, that awkward ass conversation where New York's like, oh,
He's
so
ridiculous.
You guys are on good terms?
He's like, so I should just move out of the way because I just stirred up a bunch of shit. Like, New York, are you okay? Like,
She's always saying the quiet parts out loud, and I love that.
I'm like, New York, are we okay? We were talking, New York, we were rooting for you. Stop it. Stop torching our game. Me and Jenny had carved a path for you to the end. We could see the finish line.
Listen, it could still happen.
Could it? Could it still happen?
I am a Delulu New York truther, okay?
Look, I I love me some Tiffany, but like, come on, New York. What are we? New York, what are you doing?
Bored.
She got bored. Her battery was charged all the way to max. It's starting to deplete itself. Yeah, she had to use the energy before you just make your battery life go down. I don't know if this is like, this is probably controversial, but New York was sitting on the block next to Candy. It sounds like it would be a death wish for Candy, because Candy is obviously such a big target. But New York only has to taste the block before New York goes into full New York mode, and I am terrified of that. It was kind of like when Bobby Light sat on the block. Yeah, and we'll talk about my boy Bobby later on too.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because that was something I was not prepared for.
Me neither, Chappell.
New York sitting on the block reminds me of Bobby sitting on the block, which means that person could go from a spot where they're not in any danger. They're just a pawn. The other person is going home. So this person is going to make this all about them, and they're going to go home. So
I mean, it's kind of like New York the first time anyway.
Yes,
like we've seen this film before.
We've seen it before.
Yeah. So, and that leads me to like one thing that I'm curious about. Is there a chance that neither Candy or New York return? They're like, could we be down to 4 already?
you know, we did get a little cliffhanger, right? At the end of the episode, they
Mm-hmm.
were like, but there's a
Yep. Joel
surprise,
says
you
there's a
know?
surprise.
So we don't know what that means.
We don't.
We don't know. So yeah, I mean, that would be awful as well for someone like Jesse, right? Like you've now just made 2 enemies and they're back in the game. All these guns are going to be pointed at you. But I
No,
think
I
Jesse,
mean they both leave.
oh, like walk out.
I'm saying I don't know how it happens. And again, I'm just building this on like Candy is the obvious person to get voted out here,
But New York is New
but
York.
New York is New York.
Yeah.
And I can see her just being like, you know, I know that Teresa's the table flipper, but like flipping the table, and being like, fuck you guys, I'm going home. And I might be, again, they might be like editing the next time on strategically so that, you know, it doesn't spoil who goes home. But like, then maybe they just did a really good job. I should just be giving more respect to the production and the editing team of House of Villains, because I mean, listen, I know I love them. They've been making this real fun for us. But they showed the preview of the final battle whatever royale challenge next week, and
Hands
I
on
had
a
a
hard
hard
idol.
time. Yeah, exactly. We've seen this. Richard's at home being like, "You motherfuckers!"
Right, and it looked like a naked man they were holding their hands on.
Yeah,
I was
is
like,
it
Richard's
Joel?
been here before.
Is
He
it Joel
said,
made
"Don't
of
touch
butter?
my junk." Yeah, he said, "Don't touch
Yeah,
my junk." And I don't know, is it butter?
I couldn't see the head. It looks like butter to me.
I was like, maybe wax, like a
No,
candle.
it
I
looks.
did not think butter. Oh my god,
I think it's funnier if it's butter. I
it
actually
is
hope it's
funnier, but
butter.
like, what show is this now? Is this? It's like
Mm.
House of Villains brought to you by Snick. You know, like why is this a thing?
I mean, I'm not mad at it. Anyway, I'm just saying the camera angles, either the post-production team did some incredible work in editing this. I just felt like I saw like quite a few angles of this challenge, and I could not see even a whiff of a New York or a Candy. It was truly just the other four. And so I was like, do they vote it? Like, it might not even have anything to do with the cliffhanger from Joel at the end of there being a surprise. And it might just be Candy gets voted, and New York does some New York shit and is like,
Bye.
I gotta go. I've got a gig lined up. I'm pulling a Bobby Lights.
Yeah, Worst Cooks in America All Stars is coming, and
Yeah, I'm
I got
coming
somewhere
back.
to be.
Wes coming
Get
with
in,
me.
loser. We're going cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but you know, like it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
You know, because we've seen crazier things that happen in House of Villains. Jenny, I do have a question though.
Okay. Hit me with it.
Because the letter, the infamous immunity card,
Yes.
as they're calling
card.
it, it's come back to rear its ugly head. Candy is telling people about it. She tells Safari. And like Safari activates. He's like, whoa, hold on. You're keeping secrets? Okay, didn't know that. But don't tell Wes. Obviously, don't tell Wes. Cool, bet. I'm gonna go tell everybody else.
I won't tell. You said just don't tell Wes.
Right. But I'm gonna tell everybody else. Larsa could care less. Like, whatever. I'm tapped in with Wes. New York is intrigued. New York is like, wait, what exactly happened? Dang, that's crazy. Like, New York has never been this tapped in on strategy of any other game. Like, I don't know what her.
She
Wes
goes,
talks
oh,
about
the
on
knock
West America.
blocker's back.
She
I
said,
was like,
"It's back
she
in-"
knows what that is.
She said the knock blocker's back in play. I said, not back in play. Have you been watching shows like this, New York? What are you doing?
I need to know.
She's starting to speak our language. If she says back door, I'm gonna cry. And so so yeah, so I was like, wait, New York's tapped in. But this starts to permeate throughout the house so much to where to where Wes has to come up with a lie and explain this to Jesse. And we know this. We know Jesse has been on the opposite side of random ass twists before. So Jesse, like, if no one's gonna see through this, Jesse's gonna see through it. He's looking and he's like, this is BS. I can't prove it, which is crazy. Right? Production being allowing this to rock is just wild. But Jesse's like, I can't prove it, but I know this man is lying to me. I know this man is lying to me. But there is one way we can prove it. Jenny, why are they allowed to call Bobby Lights?
Okay. So I had the same feeling where I'm like, the fuck is this shit? Like this is an unserious ass show that you and I take like
so seriously.
So seriously, but in a fun way. But yes. Like it has me being like, this should not be allowed.
This is not a thing. You can't just call home.
Why did they let Safari call Bobby Lights? He's FaceTiming him in the freaking whatever their version of the diary room is. I was gagged. I was like, are you kidding me? But does Wes, like, we know they have their phones. We know that they have their phones. We saw Victoria in Safari's bed going on Instagram, doing the highlights of her Instagram feed for him, the greatest hits. We know they have their phones. I just feel like should there maybe be like some sort of rules about like what is game interference, or if they're letting Wes make fake like is the rule that there are no rules? Like, is this the Wild Wild West? I don't know. But I just thought this was insane because Wes is like, okay, I'm going to come up with a lie on another lie. And I guess my side question is like, why did he decide to make up another version of how he received this? And that was one of like Wes's kind of messy moments here. And that might just be me being results oriented because it did not work out because fucking Safari calls Bobby Lights. I just feel, I don't know. That it's insane.
I want to be mad about it, but at the same time,
it's too funny.
Wes brought in a note he wrote outside of the show. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so if that's allowed.
And he didn't write the note. He typed it. You know, like this is something that he brought from home. It looks official, at least official-ish. You know, and so no, I'm sorry. If you're cheating and bringing in stuff from outside the game, we can do that as well. Especially if your lie is about something that Safari says is so verifiable. Maybe Wes doesn't realize that Safari could just call Bobby Lights on the phone. But he could definitely just call Bobby Lights on the phone. You know, had Wes said Tori Spelling gave me this, nobody would have been able to verify it. But Bobby Lights is somebody that Safari is extremely close to in real life. Like he knows him in real life.
But Wes isn't going to think that Safari's going, even though Wes is going to know that Safari probably has Bobby Lights' phone number. Wes is not going to think that Safari of all people is going to call and fact check that. And that's, again, I think Wes not realizing that other people are maybe a little bit more in tune than he thinks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I think that, like, you know, we were questioning whether or not Wes sees Jesse. And I think he does. I think that's why he had to tell the more elaborate lie. It's because he knows, like, that first lie was good for Candy. It's not going to work on Jesse. You know, I think that he's like, I gotta come up with better for Jesse. I don't think he sees Safari. And I think that might be, that's a blind spot. I think that Safari might not be in Wes's pocket as we think that he could be. I think that he more might be Team Jesse at this point. Because even in the FU challenge that they do, they're throwing the bombs. Safari has the chance to FU bomb a few people. And he does it to Wes under the guys that like, Wes has never had any adversity in the game. This is just game. And Wes doesn't, we don't get any confessional from Wes being like, what is Safari doing? Why is Safari turning on me? What is going on? It's just like Safari is able to do that and get away with it and then completely turn against Wes in this episode. Almost 100%. Like, I'm pretty sure he lost Safari completely. Like, Safari is Team Jesse now, and it's all based on the fact that Wes lied to Jesse about a fake advantage. Lied to Candy about a fake advantage.
Lied to both of them together.
Yes, but Safari's mad that he wasn't the one lied to. Isn't that incredible? He's mad because Wes said, Candy, I have a secret, and I'm telling it to you. They've now debunked the secret. It was a lie. And Wes has still lost Safari.
But he doubled down. He doubled down on the lie and added an extra layer of lie to it
He
to
has to tell
Safari,
Safari.
and
Yeah.
but he also, like, and I respect what Wes was trying to do here, because he's like, because Jesse's like, why didn't you tell us? Like, and he's like, because I can't tell just you and not Safari, or just Safari and not you. Like, we're all together, and I couldn't just tell one of you. And if I tell two of you, it's such a small game.
Mm-mm.
It's getting a little too messy. Like,
No.
I guess you could.
I shut that down. I completely
I mean,
disavowed that moment from Wes because it was like his argument was like, "But what if two people know, then can I not have secrets?" It was like,
Here, I guess that's the part that isn't good, but I think
yeah.
that I don't hate the being like, we are a group, and I needed to keep this as, like, close as possible, and I didn't want to be in a situation where I only told one of you and not the other. And so it just felt easiest for me to be like, I'm fucking with Candy, and that's just on me. And if it blows back on me, it blows back on me only, and not all of our games. Like, I just think that part of it, to be like, we're a group, and like, I wouldn't tell one of you and not the other. I like that part of it. But then he kind
Mhm.
of like, and also, can I have a secret?
I can't because it's really hard for you to be like, I could tell one of you. Like I wouldn't want it to blow back on both of you, but I wouldn't mind if it blow back on one of you. Like that's like, what are you saying? You
Yeah.
if you can tell him, you can tell me. We're an alliance. And you told Candy. I mean, obviously for what for
Yeah.
obvious reasons, but now once Candy knows, you didn't even like double back to be like, hey, by the way, Candy's very like went savvy and like went straight to them and like, hey, I gotta beat
Mhm.
this news. I gotta tell Safari first before Jesse does, so I can get credit for this. And so Jesse doesn't go in. Like this was
Jesse
cool.
doesn't know at this point. Is like,
What that's the thing. Jesse does kind of know. Didn't we have a conversation where we saw Jesse talking to Candy and Candy said, Jesse, Wes got an advantage. And Jesse said, did you read the note? And Candy was like, huh? And he's like, but did you see it? And
oh
Candy
my
said,
God,
yeah. Candy was like, no. And then Candy goes back to Wes and is like, let me see the note.
I need to see it.
Jesse knew that there was something
Okay, now I'm mad because
because
I
he's
forgot
gaslighting us.
about that.
Yeah,
Because why is Jesse out here being like, clutching his fucking pearls
he
about
knew.
Candy told other people and not me in confessional?
Yeah,
I'm like,
playing in
am I
our
crazy?
face. No, I remember him saying
Oh my God, I
Candy
forgot
because we
about that.
gave Jesse credit. We were like, oh, Jesse's
Yeah.
been screwed before. He knows to
Right.
ask the
Oh my God.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What the
Candy,
fuck?
Candy said, I saw it myself. And Jesse was like, what?
Is it
Excuse me?
that Candy didn't detail what it was?
He didn't follow up. Like, I don't know. I don't really know what Jesse's mad because he's like it's a live omission. And I think maybe that's another thing, right? When Candy goes to Jesse at first, it's like Jesse, he tells Wes like Wes can control the nomination basically. Like he's like got like he can switch the nominee, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
He goes to Wes, and then Wes is like, no, I can't really do that. But here's what I can do. I can at least veto the nomination. And so she's like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe she doesn't go back to Jesse with that information. Who
Yeah.
knows? But it just really felt like, Jesse, you knew about this. Like, I know, I
Definitely
saw
was
you.
not like, you at least knew enough to not be that incredulous about
Right.
the
So why you
information
gaslighting
being
us?
shared with. Yeah. Now I'm like even more like, what is happening? What
Sounds like
happened here?
Jesse was justifying putting Candy on the
Yeah.
block by any means necessary,
Yeah.
which could mean that Wes is manipulating Jesse just a little bit.
Or
Or
and
our guy just ain't that good.
or he really just sees that, like,
He need a reason
there is no path
to beating
to
Candy.
beating Candy, and there might be other, like, there is a possibility in every other scenario,
Mhm.
and he has to do, it's House of Villains, baby. I almost got banished just for playing too nice, too sweet, and it's time to get my, hands dirty and turn on my, like, my one friend here or whatever. I don't know. But I know you're saying, like, Safari, like, Wes has lost Safari. I cannot make sense of what Safari is think. We don't get a lot of confessionals from Safari,
No.
I feel, where he actually explains to us like what he's thinking and what he's doing. We're getting like him talking to other people about it, because like it really did seem like he had some sort of influence on Jesse in terms of like, you know, despite Safari going to Jesse being like, I called Bobby Lights, like he's fucking lying, bro. Like, you know, Safari took it upon himself to debunk this and share this information with Jesse. He definitely wants to like bury Wes a little bit here, but you know, before the hit list nominations, it really does seem like Safari's being like, listen, right now, the two biggest threats to win this game are you and Candy. You get rid of Candy here, it's you.
It's
like
you.
that's your biggest, that's your like easiest way to get yourself there. And I don't think that that's about protecting Wes, but I just feel like that is some sort of influence, and that does Safari just see the game as like, yeah, Wes is a liar, but no one's going to respect this at the end if he gets there. None of us are going to take him. None of us are going to take him if we have the chance. And everyone truly just says like, you are stupid to not get rid of Candy here. I don't know.
Yeah, and then Safari's questionable to me too, because like Safari's just like destined to be in the final two at this point. You know, like who's going after Safari? Like who, why? What would that benefit you? There's 2 more episodes.
Yeah.
Was there 1 more episode? How many episodes are left? Like
2 more, I believe.
2 more episodes.
I believe.
Who in their right mind is like, we gotta get Safari out? Like, what are you talking about? Safari he's giving Anfisa.
I was gonna say that. I was literally going to say that. I'm like, Safari's Anfisa, right?
But Anfisa knew what she was doing. Okay, I will always ride my 90-day queen.
I know. And here's the thing. I don't necessarily think that Safari fully doesn't know what he's doing. It's just hard for me to know that he knows what he's doing, you know?
We don't know what he's doing.
He called Bobby Lights. Like,
it was incredible. It was
that was kind of wild.
Yeah, I like to give him credit for that, but like I don't see Safari winning a jury vote, you know, because
I don't either.
Yeah, like it's like, who is going to be sitting next to Safari? Is it Jesse? Is it Wes? Because I mean, Larson's obviously not going to make it to the final 2, right? Like, you know, like what are we doing? We're down to like what, the last 6, 7 people?
6.
And yeah, 6.
And we'll be down to 5, I guess, maybe.
Right. New York or West is about to go here, and then it's a mad dash, you know, to see who can drag
Candy.
New York and Candy, yeah. So there's the mad dash to see who's going to sit next to Safari, basically.
Yeah. I mean, it could be Safari, Larsa, and like Wes or Jesse.
Yeah.
Or, well, and then there's New York. We can't forget about New York, even though
I
didn't see around that butter statue of Joel McHale.
The fact that that's butter is incredible. I can't wait to see that episode.
I don't know if that's canon.
I need to see the episode. I need to see it. I want it to be butter so bad.
I think it looks like butter. I legally require it to be butter. Yeah, I don't know. The fact that there's 2 more episodes though, that like, when you said, "Oh, what if they both come back?" when I actually meant, what if neither of them come back?
Yeah.
That's also not crazy, because it's like, how do we get, when we had the finale last year, we were at 5, right?
I have no clue. I
remember recapping it with you and Gabby. It was a great time.
Yes.
I believe the finale episode, there were still 5 people.
Okay.
And so if we have 2 episodes left and we're at 6 here and we're supposedly supposed to get rid of 1 person, how are we taking 2 episodes with 5 people? Does the format change? Does this have something to do with the big surprise at the end of the episode? Again, this is a perfect opportunity for our wonderful listeners to let us know your theories on what the big surprise is. Is it really a big deal? And how do you think these next 2 episodes play out? How do we get from where we're at to our ultimate winner? Is it going to be like last year? Are we going to get a format switch? Because they've employed some different things this season. It's not been the exact same show.
Look, final three tribal council wouldn't be awful, instead of
They
voting
did
between
3
Johnny.
though.
Oh, didn't they? Was it? I
Yeah,
thought it was
it was
Bananas and Anfisa.
Anfisa. It was
Oh, and
Bananas,
Tanisha.
Anfisa, and Tanisha. Yeah.
Oh God,
So
yeah.
maybe
So
they
the three
don't. Maybe
people.
they do 2. Maybe they do 2.
Yeah. Oh,
I
maybe
don't
5
know.
then. That'd be nice.
There's a lot of questions, and one thing that happens in this episode, and it's clearly going to be a thing in the next episode, is that Wes is kind of banking on the format being like last year, and says, hey, to Jesse, like his Hail Mary, like shortly before these hit list nominations, he goes, listen, if it's a competition at 5 and you get to choose who goes with you, if I win, I'm taking you with me. And Jesse says, do you swear on your daughter?
Yeah.
And Wes kind of is like, I don't really want to do that.
Even though Wes
And
swore on his daughter in the same episode.
already in the
Yeah.
episode, yeah. I can't
Yeah.
remember what he swore on at that
It
point,
was the
if that
way
was
he
already
said it.
blasphemy.
Well, it was the way he said it, because it was like, I swear on my daughter, I haven't told this to anybody else, which is true. He was making that was a completely new
Okay.
lie. Bobby
Yeah.
Lights was a brand new lie.
That's true.
but why, so why the hesitation now?
Yeah. Maybe I think that Wes is a superstitious person. Have you not noticed that there's been a lot of content of like in this episode even where Wes is like, oh, they're talking about like getting sleep before the challenge, and
Yeah,
Jesse's
he's
like, oh,
superstitious.
why don't you sleep in like the free room? And he's like, that room is cursed.
Right.
And like no. And then when they reference Victoria's photo above Safari's bed, and Safari's like, oh, she's gone, I can get rid of this now. And Wes is like, don't do it, it's bad luck. Like, I think if you get rid of it, like there's gonna be some sort of like bad like juju that comes your way. I think that like Wes might be a little bit of like a superstitious kind of person where I think that people will swear on things and be like, doesn't mean anything. I think that for Wes, he's like actually kind of getting a little bit like, oh man, am I like cursing myself here? And bringing some bad energy upon myself with like how I'm swearing on things here. So basically, I just feel like Wes is superstitious, and it's kind of getting to his head that he's like, swearing on things. And this is the sort of thing where it feels a little bit more serious. It's going to be a thing in this next episode, it seems, because we get to see some sort of preview where Wes says to Jesse, like, are you going back on swearing on your family? To which I am curious, because I rewatched the scene. Did Jesse swear on anything?
I didn't see that. No, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. And so maybe it's something that's going to happen at the beginning of the next episode.
Perhaps.
Like I could imagine a world where Wes coming to Jesse next. Maybe Wes gets power, and Jesse comes, or has to come to Wes hat in hand. He's like, all right, I need you to have my back. He's like, really?
I guess I'm gonna make you swear on your children.
Right?
Kids, right?
Or it's like, yeah, well, I don't know if he has kids, but it's definitely a situation where Wes could now be incentivized to be like, okay, yeah, you can swear on something too. I did,
Give me yeah.
Yeah, or word on the street is that you were thinking about putting me up.
Oh, wow.
Do you swear on your family that you weren't going to put me up?
We're gonna get mob boss Wes Bergman.
I mean, I kind of think that's Wes MO. We are collectively aroused by Wes here on the We Know Villains.com podcast.
He said in this episode that having to get himself out of sticky situations using his mind and his mouth is a turn on. So does that mean he's like turned on by his own self, like having to like get himself out of trouble using like his own skills? He said that was a turn on.
I mean, is it not?
I'm not questioning that that's a thing. I'm just saying, like, does he find that attractive about other people, or does it just like it arouses himself to like have to activate that part of himself, which I get. It's like one of those things where it's like you're feeling yourself, where it's like you put on that outfit where you're like, damn, I'm fucking serving with the tongs. And like you're like, I'm turned on because I look hot. Is that like his version of this sort of thing where it's just like when I have to like activate that part of me where it's like my back's against the wall and I gotta rely on like my God-given gift of like gab and smarts, like that arouses me. That's
I mean, I listen,
yeah.
Jenny. I know you sound confused, but this is is this a kink? Because it's mine as well. Like, look,
No, I'm not. I
whenever I have
mostly
to
am
use
just
my
wanting
mouth
to
to
make
get
sure I
myself out of
understand.
no, and I'm going to double
Yeah.
down. When I have to use my mouth to get myself out of situations, baby, I am aroused every time.
Oh,
I'm
it's
like,
a flex.
Chappell, you nasty man, you filthy, filthy
Like,
dog,
yeah.
you.
You
Yeah, when
did
Wes
that
said it, I was like,
shit.
yeah. I was so confused.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Wes, we all are like that. And now I'm understanding that maybe we're not. Maybe we're not all turned on by the ability to talk ourselves out of situations we probably should have put ourselves in. But me, oh yeah, baby, that gets me going. Like
Mine
that's
is
my
like
jam.
creative problem solving where I'm like,
Okay. You're like, okay, I'm
I
doing a
just solved that
thing.
problem. Like I just like thought outside the box.
Right. Get
And
into it.
now more
Yeah.
about the box.
More about the man, like talk about the box is the box is the main attraction right
We're
now.
thinking
No,
outside the box and now we're thinking in the
inside,
box.
around the box, in and around the box as
In and
well.
around the box.
Right. Look, I'm telling you, sometimes you just got to get yourself going. Okay. And like, again, for me, it's specifically situations I got myself into. You know, like if talking
Yeah.
myself out of situations that had nothing to do with me, fine. But if it's
Yeah.
something like, oh, Chappell, you really screwed this up. You got to fix it. I'm like, and then I'm going to buy myself some wine.
Yeah. It's like, and then you're just like, still got it. Still got it. You're like, I can mess my own fucking life up and I
Listen,
can fix it. And
and
it's
I can
nothing.
fix
It's
it.
fine.
And I'm a freak because of it, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, I see this
I
for
get
Wes
it.
for sure. Like the man is
Listen,
like
it's true.
him and Jesse are competing for the caricature of who's got the biggest ego, right? Like
Mhm.
Jesse, despite
But in such
pissing off
different ways. Like,
exactly. Jesse,
yeah.
despite pissing off half the house, is just like flexing his muscle the whole time they're cursing him out. You know, it's like
Quite literally. Yeah.
and
The
they're like,
pecs are
Jesse,
pecking.
yeah, and they can't stop. And
Mhm.
for Wes, it's like for him, like, yeah, gas me up. I just did a thing. And like I'm calling you all easily able to be manipulated and stuff like that. It's like, cool. Every time I say it and it works, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like
Do you think like
it
Wes is
is like,
watching like a super cut of like his best like confessionals where
oh my
he's just
God.
like
Jenny,
he's like
I'm gonna tell you
lights
what.
a couple candles, pours a glass of
Yes.
wine,
Stares at himself in the
opens the
mirror.
laptop.
Yeah, anytime someone calls him manipulative or puppet master, he's just like, oh yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have this conversation soon because Jenny, not to plug something so fast, but Don D is
Please.
coming.
Oh my
And Dr.
God.
Will is the original Wes Bergman. You know, the
I
original.
know.
Like nobody is hornier for their own manipulation than Dr. Will.
Oh, I
So
know.
yeah, from one villain to the next, we will be moving on from House of Villains to Dondi very soon.
I
But
can't
before
believe it. I can't
it's
believe it's
coming,
happening. I can't
it's
believe it.
coming. Are
Mhm.
we might be
We're gonna
aroused
be
here on that. Yeah,
we're gonna be
I think
coming.
it's happening. Yeah,
It's
we're
coming.
listen,
We're
it's
coming.
coming. We're think outside the box, family. In around the box is coming.
In around.
Jenny, before we wrap this up, we didn't discuss who got the cocky last episode. Who was it? Who was the one who actually won the
We
cocky?
we cocky teased. We did not give a cocky out. We decided that
I thought we decided to wait.
yeah, we decided to wait
But
and that we were giving I thought you were giving it to Wes here.
no, I wanted to give Wes this one. But I don't know if it was
So wait,
is this a joint
we're
one?
giving two here. We're giving a retroactive one for last week
I think we
or
have
2 weeks
to.
ago. Okay. Well, fuck. I was not prepared for that conversation.
We left a cliffhanger because we were thinking
Yeah.
about being New York, but then we're like, well, what are you doing, girl? And then I think for Candy, like Candy's out of the running. It was a huge L for
Yeah.
Candy.
Do we give it to Jesse, not for this episode, but for last episode, for realizing that being at the end of the line there was a bad situation and it was time to change the narrative of the game he was playing, even if it wasn't happening yet, and be like, no, I'm not the least villainous.
Uh,
And I'm gonna put myself, further down the line.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
no, I'm down with
Teresa
that.
literally was like that
We called
we
it
talked about that for
for
how
hours,
long?
for
And
days.
they yada this bitch like, anyway, Teresa, you're gone. Bye. And then it was
The
like,
high point of my life was talking about that with you, and then they just, like, squashed it so quickly, being like,
it was
"Teresa, are you dumb?"
crazy. We
Right.
thought
Somewhere
there was
Victoria's at home fist pumping because she's just like, "I told you Teresa was
yeah,
dumb." You know? Like, it's like, okay.
yeah. It was I was actually like, it made sense. That wasn't really one of the scenarios that we discussed because we thought it might be a little bit more detailed than that. But
But we
yeah, it
knew
was
it
just
would not be beneficial to be the least villainous
we
person
definitely knew
on.
that that was bad.
Yeah.
I thought that maybe it was the two last I said it was like up to Larsa and Teresa. But no, it was simply just, hey, if you're at the bottom, goodbye. And listen, this was for the best because
Yeah.
she left being like, if it means I'm the least villainous, then I'm happy with that. I'm like, what is the show we're on
Go away,
here? You
Teresa.
should
Mother
not.
Teresa's not welcome here. And
Yeah,
New York, my queen, madam, why are
our
you
queen.
so openly upset about Jesse not just being in the like? She like Jesse. You should feel like shit because you should have been in Teresa's spot. He's like, so I should have went home. She's like, yes, and you should feel bad because you didn't. He's like, I'm not really
And
quite sure what
here's
she's
the
getting
thing
at
is,
there.
I don't agree with New York here because I while I think that Jesse moved himself to a spot that was not accurate, I don't think that he was the least villainous. I
And why
think
should
that
he feel bad about it, even if he
he
was the
shouldn't
least
feel
villainous?
bad.
Like Teresa just got
He
eliminated. Are you crazy?
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, clearly I'm not the least villainous if I recognize that there was a game implication and I was like, I'm letting Teresa go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going. I'm being
New York.
self-interested here.
New York said, I
Doesn't
didn't even
even
think about
villainous
that.
though. Yeah.
Yeah, New York was like, I didn't even cross my mind. I was like, what are y'all doing? You know, so
Yeah.
no, shout out to Jesse. That I think that move right there, making sure
Yeah.
that they weren't able to strong arm him into that last spot. Even Larsa, I'll give her some credit too, because there were moments where it looked like she was gonna be least villainous and she just refused to do it.
Yeah, but Larsa is delulu as fuck because
She should have been on the most
she
villainous side.
really thought she was on the other end of it, and there's just no
Immovable.
way.
And they could
Like,
not move her.
it
She
was
was like, no.
insane.
Yeah. She's
Like,
like, no, I'm
she's
not going anywhere.
lucky that it was literally just Teresa and not, like, the 2 of them up for elimination like we were talking about,
Yeah.
because, like, she was almost that was not she needed to embrace, the dark side, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Did you miss the queen? Did you miss Vicky?
I did a little
I
bit.
missed her. I
I
did. I'm sorry.
did,
I did.
yeah. I
Yeah.
did,
Mm.
but you know what? I'm hopeful that we will see her in the finale, even though we don't know exactly what the finale is gonna look like. Um, we don't know if the format is gonna be exactly the same. We have 2 more episodes, I believe, and like you said, we don't really know how we get there, but I'm excited to see her again. Yeah, she was missed. I'm glad that we don't have to go too many episodes without her. I mean,
Yeah.
she still had a presence. We got to see her picture on the wall. I think she had like a voiceover at some point. So I think she
Her voodoo doll got thrown over the
yep,
fence.
over to the dogs. There was like
To the
dog
dogs. Dogs at the crib.
noises. Yeah, exactly. So I think that she's definitely made her mark on this season, and her presence was missed in this episode. And so even if she doesn't come out of this the victor, she is the Victoria. She's the Queen
Yes.
Victoria, and
The
she
queen.
made her mark on the season, and I don't think that we'll be forgetting about her impact. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how we get to this finale and what that looks like. One last thing I just wanted to like mention was we don't really care that much about the challenges here.
No, I'm fine.
But like, okay, I just want to know your take on what happened here. The smoke, I think, was happening in real time, but the flames, like the actual explosion, like the fire part of the explosion, that was CGI, right?
No, I thought it was all happening in real time. I
Okay,
wasn't actually.
they're reacting like it's all happening, but the fire part of the explosion looked fake to me.
Oh, I didn't even pay that close of attention. I just figured like the explosions were happening anytime the bomb went over the fence. The bombs weren't actually like detonating anything. It was just like
No,
someone
they're
sitting
setting
around pressing
something
a
off.
button. Right.
Yeah,
But I
but
figured
I thought it was
like
just like
they were
smoke
setting a,
bombs.
like oh, I mean that's probably doable as well. I don't know.
'Cause the
They
smoke looked real, the flames did not
the
to me.
explosion didn't look real.
The
Oh gosh.
explosion part did not look,
Dang.
and then, like, Safari was coughing, so I'm like, "I believe the smoke.
The smoke,
I don't
yeah, for
believe the
sure.
fire." There was smoke, there was not fire is what
Well,
I'm
they
saying.
say where there's smoke, there's fire, Jenny,
I
but I don't know this
know.
time. I'm not sure. I don't know what to believe.
Was the person that said that Wes? Because it might have been a lie.
Because it might have been a lie. Did he swear on his daughter's life? Let's find out.
We will find out. Yeah. So that was the I don't know. People listening, if you noticed that as well, was the explosion CGI and it was just smoke. Because I feel like Wes said it himself. This was like a challenge.
It did.
We're blowing shit up. Well, I was expecting TJ Lavin to come out on like a four-wheeler laughing or something.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't think that they were fully exploding things, but love to know what people think. Fun episode, fun season. I'm really excited to see like Wes still is here. We're giving Wes the cocky for this episode. We've said
Yeah,
it.
we got
It's
to. Yeah.
happening. It's
He
real.
deserves. He
Yeah.
deserves.
Like insane to, I don't know if the game he's playing is the kind of game that gets rewarded at the end. That is still to be seen, but hell of a game
Hell of a
in
game.
terms of just watching someone play a strategic game on a reality show. I love it. I love it. We're all turned on. We're all turned on over here.
The box is boxing, y'all. The box is
Get your
boxing.
tongues up.
Yeah.
We're snapping. Anyway, we'll be back next week to find out what happens between Jesse and Wes. Are both New York and Candy going to come back? There's so many questions that need to be answered. So we'll be back to cover episode 10 next week. In the meantime, Chappell, what do you got going on?
Sasha and I are covering the sex lives of college girls on HBO or on Max, I guess, on We Know Scripted TV. And so people can check that out. It's on the YouTube channel for We Know Scripted TV as well. So we're doing an episode or podcast recap, I guess, for every 2 episodes. So 1 and 2 are already out. We also did a recap of the entire first and second, seasons to get everybody caught up. So go check that out and check out the podcast. And then of course, catch me on Recap Kickback, my podcast, where I talk about whatever I want, trying to bring some holiday content and some Christmas cheer to the Kickback. And so make sure you check all of that out and subscribe to Recap Kickback and follow Recap Kickback on all social media platforms. Jenny, what about you?
Listen, we are getting to the end of the year here, and there's some really exciting stuff coming around the corner. You mentioned it already. Dondi is almost upon us. I can't believe it. I'm so excited.
Wet, Jenny.
So like we're on the road to Dondi. I don't know if we'll have some stuff coming out before the premiere. I believe the premiere is January 7th. Just make sure you are following on social media. I am at Jenny Autumn. If we're getting the Dondi train going, I will let you know.
Yes.
And I might be popping on some other podcasts in the near future. When it's coming up, I'll let you know. But for now, just really excited to see how we close out this, what I think is an incredible season of House of Villains here. Having a really great time. Thanks to everyone for sticking with us. We missed you the last 2 weeks. Join us next week for episode 10. And until then, we'll see you later. Bye.
Peace.